The Bill Jackson Documents Investigation, Part 4, The Oak Island Map by Charlotte Wheatley and Daniel Spino. In Part 4, we'll examine the Oak Island Map, which changed the entire landscape of the Oak Island mystery. Is it warranted to have had such an impact? The map was presented by Zena Halpern on the Curse of Oak Island and is known as the Zena map. When it was first shown, Charlotte noticed many grammatical problems, wrong articles, wrong prepositions, and usage of an adjective instead of an adverb. These mistakes made her think it wasn't written by a French person. Masculine and feminine would not be mixed up by a native French speaker even in Old French. There are many problems with the map having originated in medieval times. Here are Charlotte's findings. Set dessen. Set is used for feminine nouns, and in this case dessen is masculine. Elle trop. Elle meaning thee is used for feminine nouns, but the word trop is masculine. Le barque. Li meaning thee is used for masculine nouns, whereas here barque is feminine. Les Sud-Indiens travaillent très bon. This has many mistakes. The article is in plural form, but the adjective, noun, and verb are all in singular form. The word bon is an adjective but should be an adverb. The sentence should read, Les Sud-Indiens travaillent très bien. Also, the word Indian was not used until the late 15th century. Interestingly, we see the same type of mistake on the Nova Scotia map, with Inuit, 19th century, although the map is suggested as being medieval. Chêne. Meaning oak did not exist in 1347. In fact, it was written chêne at that time, and evolved to chesne before becoming chêne. The latter was first recorded in the renowned French Academy Dictionary in 1740. Atterrissage, which translates as landing place, was not in use in the medieval period, and first appears in the French Academy Dictionary in 1830, 500 years after the map was allegedly made. We also concluded that 1347 could not possibly be the date that the map was made, because the date would not have been written that way. Some have suggested that the date could be a measurement, but we would think it would have been labeled as such, instead of being identified as a landing place, which would denote a specific time of landing. There have been claims that the map is a copy of the original. Usually, when you make a copy, you don't modify words and geography without copying and presenting the original format. Concerning the grammar mistakes, any person with the capability of writing in 1347 would have had sufficient knowledge to get the gender of articles correct, but it can't be both. Is it an old document with blatant unnatural grammar mistakes, or a recent copy with limited French vocabulary? We've heard numerous arguments about why this map is genuine, the most common being that the annotations on the map correspond to features on Oak Island. The details indicate this map was drawn by someone who knew the island very well. For example, someone like Jim McGuinness, who had 3 boxes of documents and clippings of information and a family history involving the island. He wrote letters asking for various maps and requesting information concerning the history of the island which has been discovered by the compendium. His name was written on the La Formule document, which was found along with the Oak Island map, which he had his own copy. A translated version of the Oak Island map was sent to us by a person who wishes to remain anonymous. It appears to be a translation of the Oak Island map by Bill Jackson. It has many striking similarities with another version that was created by Don Roux in his book. They aren't identical, but they have subtle differences. We are certain that the version in Roux's book and this version sent to us were made by the same writer, due to the particularity in the writing and drawing on both maps. This leaves us wondering how this can be possible. We cannot publish Don Roux' version for copyright reasons, but you can find it on page 316 of the Scrolls of Onteora. Another translated version was shown to the Oak Island team when Zena Halpern presented the map in 2016. What is extremely odd about this version is that it doesn't match the translation provided by Zena in her book, which is more accurate. It has been poorly translated, and the initial French seems to have been badly understood. For example, in the top left we can see the English word angel. The people who translated this probably thought the original French annotation was ange, but it is in fact anse, which means cove or bay, which makes much more sense. Another interesting detail is the translated sentence, "Do you go here with the boat?" when in fact in French it clearly says, "Do not go here with the boat." This previous translation brings up some of the geographical issues with the map. In 1347, when the map was presumably made, Oak Island was not an island and was still connected to the mainland according to geologists. The shape of the island would have been different than depicted on the Oak Island map. The sea level was lower, so Apple Island would have been larger than today, and that is not reflected on the map. Also, when navigating around Oak Island, one must be mindful of the Frog Island shoal. It is obscured by water but shallow and can hang up a larger watercraft. So the warning, "Do not go here with the boat," applies to today. The problem with the map is that at the time of creation, the Frog Island shoal was visible land. This is not shown on the map, and it would have been if it was accurate for 1347. This also points to the map being a modern forgery. In the Scrolls of Onteora, Don Roux states that during a trip to France, p. 49, Bill Jackson acquired the map from a member of the Rochefoucauld-Doudoville family. In December 2018, after his book was released, Roux stated in Scott Walter's blog that the map did not belong to Zena, it was his property, and she used it without his permission. He described a completely different story regarding the map's provenance. Roux claimed the map was fake and produced a letter allegedly written to him by Bill Jackson. Roux states that he didn't remember the letter when he found the map with Zena and didn't remember it again when he was writing his book. Within a few months of allegedly finding this 1979 letter, Roux remembers the map was a forgery. Don Roux's statement, "What the public needs to know that Miss Halpin never knew was the Oak Island map which came into my possession in 2015 was never in any way connected to the Cremona document material or the medieval Knights Templar. The Oak Island map is a fabrication, most likely created by Bill Jackson as part of an assignment by the agency Dr. Jackson worked for to intentionally set up a bad guy associated with the P2 scandal in the late 1970s. Shortly after I discovered the Oak Island map hidden within the pages of a book by Bill in 2015, I showed the map to Miss Halpin, who immediately assumed it was connected to the Cremona document story. At the time, even I was unclear of the map's association to anything, until I recently found the letter below in my voluminous records that put the Oak Island map into proper context. My only involvement in the operation was to carve the symbols on a swagger stick as directed by Bill Jackson. The redacted portions in the letter are to protect persons involved in the P2 matter that are still living. Which is true regarding Roux's story. Was the map given to Jackson by Rochefoucauld, or did Bill Jackson create the map? With all the details that Roux seems to remember, it's surprising that he forgot about the map being fake, especially when Roux's been described as having a photographic memory. Even more surprising is that he made up Jackson's meeting with a Rochefoucauld out of thin air. This suggests deception and confirms our findings that the Oak Island map is a forgery. What does this say about the other documents associated with it? The compendium concludes that all three Jackson documents are modern forgeries created by the same person or group of people. Please visit www.theoakislandcompendium.com for the entire article, as this is only an excerpt. You don't want to miss the entire report. The compendium would like to thank Erin King for her contributions to Part 4. Join us next week for the final installment of our series. Bonne journée de la part du compendium. Good day from the compendium. Charlotte and Daniel.